Hi, Jake. So lovely to connect with you. I'm so excited to be talking to you today. All right, let's start it off. In the right stuff, U.S. fighter pilots are recruited to test experimental aircraft and rockets to become first Mercury astronauts. And this show must have been quite the learning experience for you.
Yeah, it was absolutely. In fact, I think when I came onto this show or read the script, I'd really only known about, Apollo 11 mostly, the moon landing, Neil Armstrong, Michael Collins, Buzz Aldrin, those guys. So even though this is the second adaptation of the book, there's a movie made about it, there's a book written about it. Alan Shepard and the rest of the Mercury astronauts I was not familiar with. So it was a huge opportunity for me to learn about not just the Mercury program, but also the inception of the American space program in general. And who these guys were, where they came from. I had no idea that they were even test pilots or what a test pilot in the 1950s and 60s in America was about. Really dangerous, arguably more dangerous than being an astronaut. In fact, a lot of these men's wives were relieved when they joined the space program because they'd be flying less, even though they'd be going to space. So that just is a testament to how dangerous being a test pilot in the 1950s and 60s was in the first place. So yeah, very educational and really exciting.
Well, apart from the educational aspect, what else excited you a lot about this series?
Going to space. That's pretty exciting. And I guess you could say that this is a spoiler, but this is all history, so it's not really, but especially getting to be the first American in space is pretty exciting. I think when I first read the script, I had heard of John Glenn. We talk about this in the show a little bit, why John Glenn is probably a recognizable name. He's much more adept at the publicity of the whole thing. He joined the space program already at a certain level of celebrity. He was good at talking to the press, and then he went on to become a senator in the United States. So I had heard of him, but I hadn't heard of Alan Shepard or really any of the other Mercury astronauts. So as I got to learn about them educationally, like we talked about, finding out, that Shepard in fact did get to go up before the other guys was something that I think myself and honestly everyone in the cast was looking forward to, because the whole first season kind of crescendos to the point of getting a man up there. So to find out, that I was going to be the one in the capsule in the spacesuit, blasted off on a Redstone rocket was pretty exciting.
Yeah, I'm sure I can imagine. And what about the reality show aspect of it? It kind of plays out like a reality show with all that media glare, and that really makes it so contemporary, doesn't it?
It does. We've talked about that since we've been kind of doing this press tour, that they kind of, in so many ways in America, were the first reality stars. And long before there was ever a guidebook to how to navigate that, I think fame had been associated with professions like being a musician or being an actor or whatever, a famous director, somebody in the arts, or if you were famous for being a test pilot, you were Chuck Yeager, you broke the sound barrier, you were Charles Lindbergh, you were an ace pilot in the war, your fame was a reaction to some accomplishment. And these guys got global fame before they had done anything. Nobody had gone up yet. And so them trying to now all of a sudden struggle to live up to this like very curated image that the United States government and NASA and Life magazine had built for them to maintain public support, maintain the momentum, keep everybody's eyes on the stars, was a lot to live up to for a group of people that, before that were on a government salary and were pretty unabashed, hard drinkers, fast livers, fast drivers, you know what I mean? Like these guys were fighter jocks through and through, and probably not, at best, we're not used to having to live up to such a kind of squeaky clean, all-American image that they were portrayed as.
Well, I'm really looking forward to seeing the personal aspects of that story. And the movie, the 1983 movie, picked up 4 Oscars. So did you pick up any cues from the movie?
I hadn't seen the movie when I read the script, and then I did watch the movie before we started production. I watched it once, and then I was like, I'm never watching this again, because it's a great movie, and you don't want all those terrific actors kind of sitting on your shoulder when you're on set trying to do your own thing, like Ed Harris or in my case, Scott Glenn. Both of them were so terrific. Everybody was terrific in the movie. And I knew our show was different I knew we had more real estate than a series has more real estate than a movie does. It's got more time. So I knew that, we were going to get into kind of the minutia of these people's experience. So it was just more information, honestly. And there was a lot of information to consume about the right stuff. There's the book, there's Alan Shepard's book, then there's the movie, then there's any number of outlets with any number of different perspectives on this period of American history. It's very well documented, obviously. So we all kind of had a good time pooling our resources and kind of getting into the weeds of the research. And the movie was really just one more piece of the puzzle.
Well, it sounds to me like you really went down that rabbit hole and you really enjoyed going down that rabbit hole. So what I want to ask you is, tell me one really amazing fact about space that blew your mind.
Honestly, I didn't know that the first astronauts were test pilots. That was information that I didn't know. And I didn't know the other professions that they had considered to send up there. So when they were trying to figure out, all right, who's best equipped? What profession, what people in America are best equipped to strap themselves to a rocket and blast off through the atmosphere? Test pilots ended up being who they went with, but they were also talking about acrobats in the circus. They were also talking about jockeys from horse races, like running the gambit. And I think jockeys obviously was because their stature, weight is such an important variable when you're trying to, build a rocket to go to space, that they were like, okay, well, maybe we pool from people who are, like this, or an acrobat, maybe somebody that's very flexible, or a test pilot, somebody who goes so fast and pushes planes to the point of malfunction, clearly have a death wish. They'd be fine, so all the different kind of like spitballing of who is best equipped to go to space was mind-blowing. I had no idea, because ever since I've been alive, ever since you've been alive, we just had astronauts. That is a profession. And so the idea of inventing that word and inventing that profession and where it comes from and what it looks like was fascinating to me.
Well, I learned all of that right now, so it's already been very educational for me. So thank you so much for that already. While shooting this series, was it physically taxing in any way?
Yeah, I guess so. We had an episode 3 where Colin O'Donoghue and I get into something called the Mastiff. And it's one of those big machines that spins somebody into all different axes. It simulates pitch, roll, yaw, and an aircraft tumbling out of control. And that was something that we did for the first time on camera. So when I got to work that day, the stunt coordinator was like, don't eat breakfast. You're going to be doing this all day long. We're going to strap you in, mount cameras to this thing, and spin you out of control until we call cut. So that was physically demanding for sure. And I think I probably got 1, 2, 3, maybe even 4 good takes where I was like, I got this. Once you got into like 15, 17, 25 takes, a little different story. So
the most important question is, did you manage to keep it all together or keep it all in rather?
Yeah, I did. Luckily, we didn't have anybody go that far and actually have a vomit comet experience.
Okay,
but I was close. There was a minute where I was close. I definitely regretted the breakfast, not taking his advice.
All right. Good for you. I'm a big fan, Jake. I have to tell you, of Greek. I went to college watching Greek and also Manhattan Love Story shortly after. Will we see you return to that space anytime soon?
Greek or Manhattan Love Story? Or just, you mean like kind of comedy?
Yeah, like romantic comedies, yeah.
Yeah, I've got a romantic comedy actually coming out this fall. It's a movie, it's not a series, but yeah, I honestly don't have a preference for genre necessarily. I kind of love it all, and it all depends on who I'm working with and the script. So yeah, absolutely. I mean, as far as Greek goes, everybody on that show is still super close. We're like a big family. Scott, if you're a fan, speaking to the fans of Greek right now, Scott, who played Cappy, lives right down the street. Like, we're neighbors. We've been neighbors since we shot in Greek. We both moved into our first places in this neighborhood and still live here. Even though I go, you know, shoot in random locations, and so does he. This is kind of home base, and then all the girls and guys on that show are just still very, very, very close. Same with Manhattan Love Story. I love that you love that show, because we had such a good time making that show, and it really didn't, you know, get a fair shot. Yeah, I've been fortunate. I mean, everybody that I've worked with, I've really, you get so close. You spend so many hours of the day together, and you know, it's tragic if for whatever reason there's friction or you don't get along. But I've been really lucky to work with people that have, you know, remained in my life for many years after we finished the actual job.
Could I ask you, you know, talking to you, I feel like you are so close to your character in Greek. Is that just me, or is it true?
No, I don't think so. I mean, me personally, like, Evan came, first of all, he went to college, so there's a difference. Second, I don't think if I did go to college, I mean, I don't know, but it'd been a long time ago, I don't think I'd be in a fraternity. And third, he's like a trust fund kid with very a rich family, and that was not my upbringing. You know, we came from, you know, we were a middle class family in Texas, certainly not some dynasty Chambers family where he's, you know, gets access to the keys to the kingdom when he turns 18. Like,
but I think
I came out here.
Relatability to that character, which is from you, and that is from that is very authentic, and I think that is straightly derived from you, which is you know, kind of obvious when I talk to you.
Oh, thank you. Well, yeah, I mean, I hope that was one of the things that I think the writers on that show, Sean Smith and the rest of the writers on Greek, did a really good job with that character, not making him just unlikable villain. You know, like, it would have been so easy to have him be the antagonist of the show. And even though he did things,
antagonist for me. No.
What's that? I know. I know. Well, because you see that he's a human being and he learns from his mistakes, even though he messes up a lot and does stuff that's really frustrating and can do things that are antagonistic. Like, you know, he's not sitting in his frat house twisting his mustache like an evil villain. You know, he's a real person just like anyone else with hopes and dreams, I guess.
But it was so lovely to talk to you, to connect with you about the right stuff, and also about one of my favorite TV shows of all time, which is Greek. It was so amazing talking to you, Jake, and I can't wait to watch The Right Stuff. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. It was really great talking to you too. You stay safe.
You stay safe too. Bye. Lovely chatting with you. Bye.
You too. Bye-bye.